Service dog refused.
We have rights. Service dogs have rights.
A southern Alberta man says he and his service dog were kicked out of a Tim Hortons.
You're watching Global Lethbridge. This is Global News at 5.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us on this Wednesday. A Redcliffe man is facing off with Tim Hortons after he says he was kicked out of the coffee shop because of Annie, his service dog. Now, it is illegal here in Alberta to deny someone entry if they have a service dog. Les Landry says he has one of the only non-certified recognized service dogs in the entire province. Quinn Campbell has the story.
It got to a point where I had to get up and get out.
It's not the first time Les Landry has been asked to leave a business because of his service dog, but he hopes it's the last.
We have rights. Service dogs have rights. People with service dogs and invisible disabilities, just because you can't see your disability doesn't mean we don't have them.
On Monday, Landry and his dog Annie went for their usual cup of coffee at the Redcliffe Tim Hortons. A staff member started engaging with Annie. Landry asked him not to as Annie was on the job and asked to speak to a manager.
I said, listen, it's a service dog for medical reasons. He interrupted me again. He says, no dogs, get your dog out. I said, listen, if you kick me out of here, it's a $3,000 fine. He says, I don't care, get out.
Landry suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and epilepsy. He trained Annie himself.
My PTSD was starting to escalate, and I got up and left.
Landry says Annie is the only non-certified service dog in the province, but was given designation after a similar incident at Medicine Hat Mall. He took the issue to a provincial review board and won.
The province of Alberta gives us $50 a month. So obviously, if the government's willing to give us $50 a month for a service dog, they're recognizing Annie as a service dog.
Global News contacted Tim Hortons for comment, but did not hear back. Landry spoke with the Alberta District Manager and was asked what could fix the situation.
I said it's quite simple. Reimburse me for my coffee and put in a training policy. You know, obviously you've got to train your staff.
Landry has started an organization called Respect the Service Dog. His mission? To raise awareness about these canines and how they should be treated when on the job. Quinn Campbell, Global News.
From the Broadcast Center in Medicine Hat, in high definition, this is Chat News.
Ordered to go.
And as I'm ordering my coffee, a young employee came around the counter and started talking to Annie.
A local man says he was kicked out of Tim Hortons in Redcliffe because of his service dog. Well, good evening and thank you for joining us. Well, for those with a disability, a service dog is a lifeline. Many people rely on the animals to help them get through their day. Service dogs are supposed to be allowed in all public spaces. The one Redcliffe man says that wasn't the case at his local Tim Hortons. Alicia Drouse has more.
This is Annie. She's been with Les Landry for nearly 4 years. He says she's been trained to help him with his epilepsy and PTSD.
She's seizure detection by instinct, seizure alert, seizure response. She'll activate my medical alarm if something's to happen to me in the home.
Landry says Annie is well behaved and often goes unnoticed. But on Monday evening, when Landry went to the Redcliffe Tim Hortons, he says one employee took notice.
As I'm ordering my coffee, a young employee came around the counter and started talking to Annie.
He says when a service dog is working, it's important that they're not distracted. He says he asked the employee to stop, but the young man continued to engage the dog. After receiving his order, Landry says he asked to speak with the manager about how staff are trained, but was surprised at how the supervisor responded.
He says, no dogs. I says, it's a service dog for medical reasons. He says, I don't care, no dogs.
The Provincial Public Service Dog Act states that any individual with a qualified service dog must be granted access to any location that is open to the general public. Landry admits Annie isn't certified by the province, but says that wasn't even the issue.
He didn't even ask me for any form of documentation or nothing. It was just get out, no dogs allowed.
Landry does have a card from Assistance Dogs International and receives a stipend from the government for a service dog. Alberta Human Services says they're currently reviewing the service dog's qualification regulation, and options are being explored to increase the number of service dogs with public access rights under the Service Dogs Act. Landry says he just wants people to recognize the importance of these animals.
My main focus is to raise awareness that these incidences are happening, and let's as a society try and recognize what's the solution to this.
Tim Hortons wouldn't comment on camera, but their head office did send a statement. It says the chain has a policy that clearly outlines service animals are welcome. It goes on to say that while it appears to be an isolated incident, we take this matter seriously and are working with the owner at this location to reinforce the policy and retrain staff. Alicia Drous, Chat News.